Hi, my name is Natalie. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. I like making crafting tutorials, and I would also like to say a big welcome to all of my wonderful subscribers. Whether you've followed me here, already can't talk, whether you found me here on YouTube or you followed me from Facebook, I just want to take the time out to say thanks. You're the reason, like I always say, like my little channel. I don't know why that kills me when I do that, but it is growing and it is all thanks to you. So I'm asking all you new guys that are here for the first time, or you newbies like I like to call you, if you could kindly do the same. Like, subscribe, also hit that notification bell so this way YouTube will inform you when I'm here again. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Nat Creates Crafts. It's like a little song, Nat Creates Crafts. Oh, so you know what today, guys? I don't know about you, but with us having to stay home, my craft stash is kind of dwindling. But one thing I will say I have an abundance of is recycled stuff. I have cans, I have bottles, I have plastic containers that my family constantly makes fun of me that I'm hoarding. But what better use for them than to craft with? So there is a method to the madness, and I hope you guys are like right there with me. So today we're going to be doing 3 recycled projects, which I hope you guys do enjoy. Thanks again for being here with me today, and let's get crafting.
Our first project is going to be the Galvanized Planter. You're going to need 1 disinfectant wipe container or whatever similar container that you have on hand, Waverly chalk paint in the colors Mineral, Elephant, Ink, and Plaster, Mod Podge, paint brushes, a Cricut accessories, flat black vinyl, and clear contact paper. But if you don't have a Cricut, I will link a printable for you in the description box below. Jute cord. You can use any twine, even the Dollartree one, but this one is my favorite and I use this for everything. Glue gun, glue sticks, and scissors. We're going to start with our container, a paintbrush, and the Waverly chalk paint in the color Elephant. I've removed the lid from my container. I also cleaned the container with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and a cotton ball to remove any residue. So this way our paint will adhere to it better. I applied 1 good coat and I let it completely dry. Now we're going to take our colors Mineral, Plaster, and the ink, and we're going to take our stipple brush and we're going to start by distressing the container with the mineral paint. We're just going to dab it. You could use a sponge applicator for this, but I just love this little paintbrush. I think I had it for like 99 cents. Anyway, I love it. So after that dries, we're then going to do the same effect, but we're going to use the plaster and the ink, and we're just going to alternate the colors, even blend some of them just till we get the look that we want, which is galvanized. Now we're going to take our Mod Podge and we're going to put a good generous coat on the outside to protect the surface and also to make our vinyl letters adhere to it so much better. You're going to let that completely dry, and that's what it's going to look like. Now we're going to take our jute cord and we're going to glue it to the opening of our container. You're just going to wrap it around and glue it till it's completely covered. When we're all done wrapping the top, we're just going to cut off the excess. Now it's time to make our design. I did it on Cricut Design Space. I will have a link for it also in the description box below if you have a Cricut, but you're going to make it to the measurement of your container. Then we're going to put it in our machine and have it cut out. And then we're going to then weed it. Apply the clear contact paper burnish it, and then lift it. Now we're going to apply it to our container. We're just going to center it. And just be careful, because once you put it on there, it sticks pretty well. You don't even have to burnish it as well. But I do burnish it just to make sure that it will stick to the container. And then very carefully pull back the contact paper. And our container, galvanized container, is all done. I loved the way it turned out. I would never guess that that was actually plastic. You could put a real plant in there if you want, but just remember to put a drain hole in it. The next project I call the Tin Can Trio. You're going to need 3 tin cans, Waverly chalk paint, I used the color Cashew, paint brushes, Jute Cord, I got this at the Dollartree Crafter Square, it's actually pretty good. Popsicle sticks, I used medium, but you could use whatever size you have on hand. Lace beige wired burlap ribbon, glue gun, glue sticks, scissors, and cutting pliers. We're going to start with 1 can and the Waverly paint in the color Cashew or whatever color you have on hand, and we're going to apply 2 good coats to the can. Now a tip I would say is to apply a coat of Mod Podge first, because this paint can chip, but when each coat is completely dry, you can then put Mod Podge over it afterwards. Remember, we're going to be doing this to 2 of our cans. Now that our cans are dry, we're going to take our ribbon and you're going to cut it to the diameter of your can, leaving maybe about a 1/2 inch overhang. We're going to glue it to the center of our can. Then we're going to hold the ribbon tight and wrap it around the can and glue the end to the back. Now we're going to take our jute cord and we're going to glue it right to the top of our can, right under the lip. And then I wrapped the jute around the can about 3 times. You can wrap it as many times as you'd like, but 3 was just enough for this size can. You're going to glue the end, and then you're going to cut off the excess. And you're going to repeat that process on the bottom of your can. Now it's time for our 3rd can. You're going to take 1 popsicle stick and you're going to cut off one end. And then you're going to take your popsicle stick and line it up to the can and mark it off, so this way you know how high your popsicle stick has to be. Then we're going to cut all of our popsicle sticks. My can needed about 13 of them. So we're going to glue the first stick to the can and we're going to stand the can upright. So this way we know that the popsicle stick lines up with the bottom. And then from that point, you're going to just glue the rest of them right onto the can, butting them one next to the other to make it kind of look like, you know, shiplap. This is what your can is going to look like when it's done. Now we're going to take our lace ribbon again, measure it to the size of your can, always giving yourself about a 1/2 inch overhang, and we're going to cut the ribbon right in the middle. Then we're going to take one of our pieces and we're going to glue it right to the top of our can. This will also cover and hide all the imperfections of the cuts that you made to the popsicle sticks. I think it also makes it look pretty. Now we're going to do the same thing to the bottom of the can, but we're going to mirror the ribbon. And then we're just going to glue it right to the bottom. You know, you could use whatever you have on hand, like I said. It does not have to be this one. It could be any color of your choice. Just use whatever you have at home. I'm sure when you're done, it's going to look absolutely beautiful. Now we're going to take the jute and we're going to wrap it in the middle of this can. So you're going to just hot glue it right to the center and then wrap it around about 3 times. You can wrap it as many times as you'd like I always say, but I just did it 3 times. Glued the end and then cut off the excess. Now I'm going to show you how I made these bows. You're going to take a piece of the jute, you're going to hold it between your fingers, and I wrapped mine about 5 times around my fingers. Then I took the tail end of that jute, tucked it between my middle finger and my ring finger to tie it and form the bow. Then you're going to slide them off your fingers and then you're going to wrap it around again just to secure it. Then just fluff the jute a little bit, like open it up just a little bit. Then we're going to glue it right to the center of our can, and then we're going to cut off the tail. Now what I did was I glued the ends of the jute bow, but I wouldn't recommend doing it like I just did here because you can burn your fingers. Yes, I get made fun of, but yes, you can burn your fingers. We don't want to do that. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to then lift your bow and then put the glue on the can instead, and then lay the jute flat. Our cans are all done and this is what they look like. Now you could use these to hold art supplies. I'm just showing you with silverware, but you can use pencils, paint brushes, and of course I put purple flowers in mine. Who would have guessed? Our last project is the Bloom and Grow enamel vase. You're going to need 1 empty cooking oil container or whatever plastic container that you may have that looks similar on hand. Waverly chalk paint. I know I'm showing plaster, but I actually used the color white. Mod Podge, paint brushes, Cricut accessories, flat black vinyl, clear contact paper, and like I said before, if you don't have a Cricut, I will link a printable in the description box below. Scissors and cutting pliers. We're going to start by taking our bottle and laying it on its side. Now, the bottles may vary, but this bottle right here has grooves in it, so I just marked right where the bottle kind of is a little snug in the middle, if you want to call it that, or so I drew a line up to the top where the opening is, and then I drew a parallel line about 2 inches apart. I just followed the grooves of my bottle and I just marked it off. I did the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to cut where we marked. Now I'm using a box cutter, but please be careful. I'm just using it to puncture the bottle, and then I'm going to use regular scissors to cut where I marked it off with the Sharpie. So you're going to cut the bottle right to where the main part of the bottle is, I guess. I mean, it's really hard to explain, but you see what I'm doing. You get the idea. So we're going to use our blade just where it's needed, but you can use scissors, like I said, to just cut the rest. And you're going to do it on both sides. And it's going to look like that. Now we're going to take our Sharpie again. This is just so it makes it easier to know where to cut. And we're going to attach, we're going to draw a line so that it goes right where we cut on either side. Wow, this is really hard to explain. Thank God you could see what I'm doing. So then I'm going to take my scissors again and just being careful not to cut the sides that I had cut originally, and we're just going to cut around the edge of the bottle. That's one side, and now we're going to repeat that on the other side. Just be careful and put have a good grip. I don't know why this is so hard for me to explain, but have a good grip on your bottle while you're cutting it. And when you're done, this is what it's going to look like. So you'll have that piece, And then this is what we're going to end up with. Now we're going to take our Waverly chalk paint, like I said, in the color white I used, and we're going to apply 2 coats to this bottle. Now the same rule applies to what we discussed before with the cans. You can put a coat of Mod Podge on it first, so this way your paint won't chip. So you can use the Mod Podge before, or you can do the Mod Podge after. I did the Mod Podge afterwards. So you're going to apply 2 coats and let each coat of that paint dry. Now make sure that you also paint those little pieces that we cut. Now it's time to apply the Mod Podge. I put a generous coat of Mod Podge on mine so that this way my paint would not chip and it would also protect the surface. When the Mod Podge has dried, you're going to now take your black paint, and what I did was I took a small brush and I just painted the edges of the container just to give it that enamel look. I then used the grooves of my bottle and I just painted a line on the top and the bottom. I then took 2 push pins. You could use thumbtacks if you want, but I didn't have any. And I cut the tops of the push pins, making sure you're pointing them down so they don't go flying in your face. I then took those little push pins and I put them in a little piece of floral foam. And I just painted the tops of them black. Now you're going to take each one of those little push pins and you're going to put it on one side, and this is going to form the handle of our enamel vase, and you just push it right in to the container. You don't need hot glue. They're actually staying with mine. You could use low temp. Don't use hot temp because you're going to melt the plastic. Now it's time to cut our words on our Cricut. But like I said, if you don't have a Cricut, I am linking both a printable and an SVG in the description box below. So then we're going to cut our design. Then we're going to weed it. Apply the clear contact paper and burnish it. Now I went ahead and I cut the words and the and separately because I had grooves in my bottle that I thought would make it easier just to apply the vinyl. Doing it one layer at a time, burnishing it, and then peeling off the contact paper. Our enamel vase is done. I cannot believe when I look at it that that was a cooking oil container. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Nat Creates Crafts. Please don't forget to subscribe so that this way we'll be seeing each other next time. Until then, happy crafting, be safe, and God bless.